Logan Bennett stood in the rain outside the small bookshop on Maple Street, water dripping from his dark hair onto the collar of his expensive coat, watching through the window as Sofia Vance arranged a display of paperbacks with the same careful attention to detail she had always possessed. 7 years had passed since he had last seen her. 7 years since he had walked away from the best thing in his life because he had been too afraid to believe he deserved her. He had not planned to come here. His assistant had mentioned this bookshop in passing during a meeting about potential real estate investments in the neighborhood, and something about the name, Page and Prose, had tugged at his memory. Sofia had always talked about opening a bookshop someday, back when they were together in college, back when he had nothing but student debt and big dreams. Now he had everything except what mattered. The rain intensified, drumming against the pavement, but Logan could not bring himself to move. Sofia looked exactly as he remembered and completely different at the same time. She wore jeans and a cream sweater, her dark hair pulled back in a ponytail, and there was a contentment in her expression that made his chest ache. She had built the life she wanted without him. A customer entered the shop, shaking off an umbrella, and Sofia greeted them with a warm smile that Logan remembered so well it hurt. He should leave. He should turn around and walk back to his car and forget he had ever found her. But his feet carried him forward instead, pushing open the door, and the small bell above it chimed. Sofia looked up from the customer she was helping, and her eyes met his. Every word Logan had rehearsed in his head during the walk from his car evaporated. Her face went pale, then flushed, and for a moment neither of them moved. "Logan," she said quietly, and hearing his name in her voice again after all these years felt like coming home and being slapped simultaneously. "Hi, Sofia." His voice came out rougher than he intended. The customer looked between them, sensing the sudden tension, and quickly made their purchase before leaving. The shop fell silent except for the rain against the windows and the soft instrumental music playing from hidden speakers. "What are you doing here?" Sofia asked. She crossed her arms, not defensively, but as though she needed to hold herself together. "I heard about your shop," Logan said, which was not quite a lie but not the whole truth either. "I wanted to see it. After 7 years. There was no anger in her voice, just confusion and something that might have been hurt. Logan moved deeper into the shop, taking in the floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, the cozy reading nook by the window with its overstuffed armchair and good lighting, the small coffee bar in the corner. It was everything she had described to him during those late nights in their cramped apartment when they were 22 and planning futures that seemed impossibly far away. "You did it," he said. "Everything you wanted." "Most of it," Sofia said softly. She moved behind the counter, putting distance between them, putting a barrier of wood and glass between her present and her past. "You look different, successful." Logan glanced down at his tailored suit, his Italian leather shoes. "I got lucky. The software company took off, I know. I read about you sometimes." She said it matter-of-factly, without embarrassment. "Bennett Tech Solutions. Forbes put you on their 30 under 30 list 3 years ago." He had not known she kept track of him, and the knowledge made his pulse quicken. "I looked for you too. But you were never on social media." "I deleted everything a few years ago. It felt better without it." Sofia picked up a stack of books and began shelving them, needing something to do with her hands. "Why are you really here, Logan?" The question hung in the air between them, heavy with everything unspoken. Logan watched her shelve books, each movement precise and careful, and tried to find words for feelings he had spent 7 years trying to ignore. "I never stopped thinking about you," he said finally. "I know I do not have the right to walk back into your life. I know I was the one who left, but I had to see you. I had to know if you were happy." Sofia turned to face him, and her dark eyes were bright with unshed tears. "You do not get to do this. You do not get to show up after 7 years and ask me if I am happy. You gave up that right when you walked out without fighting for us." "I know." Logan took a step closer. "I was stupid and scared, and I convinced myself you would be better off without me. I was drowning in debt, and you had your whole future ahead of you, and I thought I was holding you back." "That was not your decision to make alone," Sofia said, and now there was anger threading through her voice, hot and real. "I loved you. I would have waited. I would have worked 3 jobs if that was what it took, but you did not even give me a choice." "You are right." Logan ran a hand through his wet hair, frustrated with himself, with the past, with the impossibility of undoing his mistakes. "I was wrong. I have spent 7 years building a company and making money, and none of it matters because I lost you." The bell above the door chimed again, and an elderly woman entered, bringing with her a gust of wind and rain. Sofia immediately composed herself, slipping into her role as shopkeeper with the ease of long practice. "Mrs. Chen, your order came in," she said warmly, pulling a wrapped package from beneath the counter. "The new cozy mystery series you wanted." "Wonderful, dear Mrs. Chen said, then noticed Logan. "Oh, I am not interrupting, am I?" "No, not at all," Sofia assured her, but her hands trembled slightly as she processed the payment. Logan waited while Sofia chatted with Mrs. Chen about books and the weather and the new restaurant opening down the street. He watched the way she engaged with her customer, genuinely interested and kind, and remembered all the reasons he had fallen in love with her in the first place. Sofia had always had this gift for making people feel seen and heard. When Mrs. Chen finally left, Sofia locked the door behind her and flipped the sign to closed even though it was only 4 in the afternoon. "You cannot be here when I have customers," she said. "This is my business, my life. I cannot have you disrupting it." "I am sorry." Logan Bennett. "I should not have come." "But you did." Sofia leaned against the door, studying him. "You are different. Not just the expensive suit and the haircut. You hold yourself differently." "Building a company changes you," Logan said. "Sometimes for the better, sometimes not. I learned to be confident, to make decisions, to lead. But it also made me realize what I gave up in the process." Sofia was quiet for a long moment. Rain continued to fall outside, turning the street into a watercolor painting of grays and blues. Finally, she said, "I was angry at you for a long time, then I was sad. Then I was just tired of feeling anything about you at all. I built this shop, I made friends, I created a life I love. I worked hard to move on." "Did you?" Logan asked quietly. "Move on?" The question was unfair and he knew it, but he needed to ask. Sofia's jaw tightened. "I dated," she said. "There was someone serious about 2 years ago, a teacher named David. He was kind and stable and he wanted to marry me." The past tense was not lost on Logan. "What happened?" I said no. Sofia pushed off from the door and walked to the window, looking out at the rain. "He asked me why I could not commit, and I did not have a good answer. Or maybe I did, and I just did not want to admit it." Logan's heart was pounding so hard he was sure she could hear it across the small shop. "Sofia, do not," she said, turning to face him. "Do not make this into something it is not. Just because I was not over you does not mean you get to walk back in and pick up where we left off. You hurt me, Logan. You made me feel like I was not worth fighting for." "You were worth everything," Logan said fiercely. "You still are. I was the one who was not worth it. I was broke and directionless and terrified that I would drag you down with me. My parents had just gone through bankruptcy, and I watched my mother cry every night because they lost everything. I could not bear the thought of doing that to you." It was the first time he had said it out loud, the real reason he had left. Sofia's expression softened slightly. "You should have told me that then," she said. "You should have let me in instead of shutting me out." "I know." Logan moved closer, stopping a few feet away from her. "I have thought about that conversation 1,000 times, all the things I should have said differently, all the ways I failed you." Sofia wrapped her arms around herself again. "I looked for you, after you left. I went to your apartment and you were already gone. I called your phone and it was disconnected. I even asked your friends, but no one knew where you went." "I moved to Seattle," Logan said. "Started working 18-hour days at a startup. Threw myself into work so I would not have to think about what I had lost. When that company went under, I used the little money I had saved to start Bennett Tech Solutions. I told myself I was building something, creating the kind of security I never had growing up. But really, I was just running." "From what?" Sofia asked. "From the fact that I made the biggest mistake of my life when I walked away from you." The words hung between them, raw and honest. Sofia closed her eyes for a moment, and when she opened them again, they were wet with tears. "Why now?" she whispered. "Why come back now?" "Because I have spent 7 years trying to convince myself I did the right thing, and I cannot do it anymore," Logan said. "Because I built everything I thought I wanted and it means nothing without you. Because I am tired of being afraid." A tear slipped down Sofia's cheek, and Logan's hands clenched at his sides to keep from reaching for her. "I am scared," she admitted. "I am scared of believing you and getting hurt again. I am scared of letting you back in." "I am scared too," Logan said. "I am terrified. But I would rather be terrified with you than successful and alone." Sofia laughed, a watery sound that was half sob. "That is quite a line." "It is not a line. It is the truth." Logan took another small step closer. "I am not asking you to forgive me or take me back or anything like that. I just want a chance to be in your life again, to prove that I am not the same scared kid who ran away." Sofia wiped at her eyes with the back of her hand. "I do not know if I can do this." "Can I at least take you to dinner?" Logan asked. "Just dinner. As friends, if that is all you want. I just want to talk to you, to hear about your life, to know you again." She looked at him for a long moment, and Logan could see the war happening behind her eyes. Finally, she nodded slowly. "Dinner, as friends. But not tonight." She glanced at the clock on the wall. "I need time to process this." "To think." "Tomorrow?" Logan asked hopefully. "Saturday," Sofia countered. "That gives us both a few days." It was Wednesday. 3 days felt like an eternity, but Logan nodded. "Saturday. Where should I pick you up?" "I will meet you," Sofia said firmly. "Where?" Logan thought for a moment. "Do you remember that Italian place near campus? Antonio's. It closed down 5 years ago," Sofia said. "But there is a new Italian restaurant on 5th Street. Bella Not. 7 o'clock." 7 o'clock, Logan agreed. He pulled out his phone. "Can I have your number, in case something comes up?" Sofia hesitated, then rattled off the digits. Logan saved them immediately, afraid she might change her mind. When he looked up, she was watching him with an expression he could not quite read. "I should go," he said, though leaving was the last thing he wanted to do. "Thank you for agreeing to see me." "I have not decided anything yet," Sofia warned. "This is just dinner." "Just dinner," Logan echoed, but they both knew it was more than that. He walked to the door and Sofia unlocked it for him. The rain had slowed to a drizzle. Logan paused in the doorway. "Your shop is beautiful," he said. "You should be proud." "I am," Sofia said softly. "It is everything I wanted it to be." Logan nodded and stepped out into the rain. He made it halfway to his car before he heard Sofia call his name. He turned to find her standing in the doorway of the shop, the warm light from inside haloing her. "I am glad you came," she said. "Even though I am still angry and confused and scared, I am glad you came." Logan felt something loosen in his chest, the first real breath he had taken since walking into the shop. Me too. He drove back to his downtown apartment in a daze, barely seeing the road. When he walked into his penthouse overlooking the river, the sleek modern space felt emptier than ever. He had bought this place 2 years ago, hired an interior designer to make it look like something out of an architecture magazine. But it was not a home. It was just a place he slept between working. Logan poured himself a drink and stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows, looking out at the city lights. His phone buzzed with messages from his assistant about tomorrow's meetings, from his business partner about a potential investor, from his mother asking when he would visit. He ignored all of them. Instead, he opened his photos and scrolled back, past the recent images of business dinners and corporate events, past the photos from last year's tech conference, all the way back to the handful of pictures he had saved from college. There were not many. They had been too broke to own good cameras, too busy living life to document it properly. But there was one photo he had kept all these years. In it, Sofia was laughing at something off camera, her head tilted back, her whole face alight with joy. Logan was looking at her, not at the camera, and the expression on his face was one of complete adoration. He remembered when it was taken. Their friend Marcus had snapped it at a barbecue during their senior year, just a few months before Logan had panicked and left. Marcus had texted him the photo later with a message that said, "You are gone for her, man." Logan had been. He still was. The next 3 days passed in a blur of distraction. Logan tried to focus on work, but his mind kept drifting to Saturday night. He found himself mentally rehearsing conversations, imagining outcomes both wonderful and terrible. His business partner, Rachel, finally called him out on it during a Friday morning meeting. "Where is your head?" she asked after Logan missed a question for the 3rd time. "You have been checked out all week." "Sorry," Logan said, forcing himself to focus. "Just distracted." "By what?" "We are about to close the biggest deal of the year. I need you present." Rachel was brilliant and direct, which was why they worked so well together. She did not tolerate nonsense. "I saw my ex-girlfriend this week," Logan admitted. "The one from college." Rachel's eyebrows shot up. "The one you never talk about but clearly never got over." "Is it that obvious?" "Logan, in the 5 years I have known you, you have never dated anyone for more than a month. You work constantly and you live like a monk. Yeah, it is obvious." Rachel leaned back in her chair. "What happened when you saw her? We are having dinner tomorrow night." "And you are terrified," Rachel observed. "Completely." "Good," Rachel said. "You should be. Means it matters." She gathered her papers and stood. "Take the rest of the day off. Clear your head. I can handle the meeting with the investors on Monday without you for once." Logan started to protest, but Rachel held up a hand. "I am serious. Go to the gym, go for a drive, do whatever you need to do. But show up tomorrow night as a human being, not a CEO. That is clearly what she needs to see." Logan took her advice. He left the office, went to the gym, and then drove out of the city to the state park where he and Sofia used to hike on weekends. The trails were muddy from the recent rain, but the woods were beautiful, all autumn colors and filtered sunlight. He walked for hours, remembering. They had been so young, so certain that love was enough. Logan had been studying computer science and working 2 part-time jobs to pay for school. Sofia had been an English major with dreams of opening a bookshop someday. They had met in the library during finals week of their sophomore year, both reaching for the same study room at the same time. Sofia had smiled and said they might as well share it. They had studied together that whole week, taking coffee breaks that turned into meals, which turned into long conversations about everything and nothing. By the time finals ended, Logan was completely smitten. He had asked her out on an actual date, and she had said yes. The 2 years that followed had been the happiest of Logan's life. Even when they were broke, even when they were stressed about exams and jobs and the future, they had each other. Sofia had a way of making everything feel manageable, of finding joy in the smallest moments. She would surprise him with picnics made from dollar store snacks, or leave silly notes in his textbooks, or dance with him in their tiny kitchen to music from her phone. Then, 3 months before graduation, Logan's parents had called to tell him they were bankrupt. His father's business had failed, and they had lost everything. Logan had flown home to help them pack up the house he grew up in, watching his mother cry as she sorted through belongings to sell. His father had looked 10 years older, broken by the failure. Logan had returned to school changed. Every time he looked at Sofia, he saw a future where he dragged her down with him, where they struggled and fought and eventually grew to resent each other. He saw his parents' marriage, which had barely survived the bankruptcy. He convinced himself that the kindest thing he could do was let her go before he ruined her life. So he had told her it was not working, that he needed to focus on his career, that they wanted different things. He had watched her face crumble and forced himself not to take it back. Then he had packed his things and left town, cutting all ties so he would not be tempted to come crawling back. It had been the worst decision of his life. Logan emerged from the woods as the sun was setting, feeling more centered than he had in days. He knew what he needed to do. He needed to be honest with Sofia, completely honest, and then let her decide what she wanted. No pressure, no expectations, just the truth. Saturday morning, Logan woke up early and went for a run along the river. He came back to his apartment, showered, and then stood in his closet trying to decide what to wear. Everything looked too formal, too much like the CEO he had become, and not enough like the man he wanted to be for her. Finally, he settled on dark jeans and a charcoal sweater, something nice but not overdone. He arrived at Bella not 15 minutes early and asked for a quiet table in the back. The restaurant was warm and intimate, with exposed brick walls and candles on every table. Exactly the kind of place Sofia would love. She arrived at 7 on the dot and Logan stood when he saw her. She wore a simple black dress and a leather jacket, her hair down around her shoulders. She was so beautiful it hurt to look at her. "Hi," she said, a little breathless. "Hi." Logan pulled out her chair and she sat, looking slightly amused. "You have good manners now," she observed. "That is new." "I had to learn how to navigate business dinners," Logan said, sitting across from her. "Turns out investors care about that stuff." The waiter appeared with menus and water, giving them a moment to settle. Sofia studied her menu while Logan studied her, trying to memorize everything about this moment in case it was the last time she agreed to see him. "The butternut squash ravioli looks good," Sofia said without looking up. "You always did love ravioli," Logan said. She lowered her menu and met his eyes. "Some things do not change." They ordered and then they were left alone with nothing to hide behind. Sofia took a sip of water and said, "So, how does this work?" "I thought we could just talk," Logan said. "Really talk the way we used to?" "Okay." Sofia folded her hands on the table. "You start. Tell me about the last 7 years, the real version, not the Forbes article version." So Logan did. He told her about moving to Seattle with nothing but a suitcase and a broken heart. He told her about the startup that failed and the lesson he learned from it. He told her about meeting Rachel at a tech conference and how they had started Bennett Tech Solutions in his living room with a laptop and a dream. He told her about the 18-hour days, the failed pitches, the moment they finally landed their first major client. "It sounds exciting," Sofia said when he paused. "It was exhausting," Logan corrected. "But it was easier than dealing with how I felt about leaving you." Work was something I could control, something I could fix with enough effort. My feelings were not. The food arrived, and they both took a few bites before Sofia said, "My turn, please." Sofia told him about finishing college and working at a bookstore for 3 years while saving money. She told him about taking business classes at night and writing a business plan for page and prose. She told him about the day she signed the lease on the shop space and how terrified she had been. She told him about the early days when she barely had any customers and thought she had made a huge mistake. "But you did not give up," Logan said. "No," Sofia agreed. "I thought about it sometimes, but the shop became my purpose. It is more than just selling books. It is about creating a space where people feel welcome, where they can discover stories that change them. I host a book club every Thursday night, and some of those people have become my closest friends. I do story time for kids on Saturday mornings. I have a whole wall dedicated to local authors." The pride in her voice made Logan smile. "You built something real, something that matters to people." "So did you," Sofia said. "Bennett Tech Solutions has that whole initiative helping small businesses with their digital infrastructure, right? I read about it." "You really did keep track of me," Logan said softly. Sofia looked down at her plate. "I tried not to, but every time your name popped up in an article or a headline, I could not help myself. I wanted to know if you were happy." "Were you happy, I mean?" "Before I showed up and complicated everything." Sofia considered the question carefully. "I was content. I loved my shop and my friends and my life. But there was always something missing, something I could not quite name. Or maybe I could name it and I just did not want to." Logan's hand moved across the table, stopping just short of touching hers. "Sofia, I need you to know something. I did not come back because I was bored or because I wanted to see if I still had feelings for you. I came back because I never stopped loving you, not for a single day in 7 years." Sofia's breath caught. "Logan, I am not asking you to say it back," he continued. "I just need you to know. Every success I have had, every goal I have accomplished, it all felt hollow because you were not there to share it with. I convinced myself I was doing the right thing by leaving, but I was just being a coward." A tear slipped down Sofia's cheek, and this time Logan did reach across the table to gently wipe it away. She did not pull back from his touch. "I loved you so much it scared me," she whispered. "When you left, I felt like I could not breathe. It took me years to feel normal again. And now you are here, saying all the things I wanted to hear 7 years ago, and I do not know what to do with it." "You do not have to do anything," Logan said. "I just want to be in your life again, in whatever way you will let me. If you want to be friends, I will be the best friend you have ever had. If you want to take things slow, we will go at whatever pace you are comfortable with. And if you tell me to leave and never come back, I will respect that too." Sofia laughed, wiping at her eyes. "You are not making this easy." "I do not want to make it easy, I want to make it right." They finished dinner while talking about lighter things, shared memories from college that made them both laugh. Logan told her about the time he had accidentally locked himself out of his apartment in his underwear and had to climb through a window. Sofia reminded him of the disaster that was their attempt to cook Thanksgiving dinner their junior year when they had somehow burned everything including the salad. "How do you burn a salad?" Logan asked, laughing. "You left the dressing too close to the stove," Sofia reminded him. "It caught fire and spread to the lettuce. That was entirely your fault." "It absolutely was not." They were still debating it when the waiter brought the check. Logan paid before Sofia could protest, and then they were standing outside the restaurant in the cool night air, neither quite ready to say goodbye. "Walk with me?" Logan asked, gesturing down the street toward the Riverwalk. Sofia nodded, and they fell into step together. The river reflected the city lights, and the path was quiet except for the occasional jogger or couple. They walked in comfortable silence for a while before Sofia said, "I have been thinking about what you said, about being scared." "Yeah. I am still angry at you for leaving," she said carefully. "I am still hurt, but I also understand why you did it better now. I watched my parents struggle financially when I was growing up, and it left scars I did not even realize I had until recently. Fear makes us do stupid things." "The stupidest," Logan agreed. "But I need you to understand something." Sofia stopped walking and turned to face him. "If we do this, if we try again, you do not get to make decisions for me. You do not get to decide what is best for me or protect me from hard things. We are partners or we are nothing." "Partners," Logan said firmly. "I promise." "And we go slow," Sofia added. "I need time to trust you again, to believe that you will not run when things get hard." "As slow as you need," Logan agreed. "I will wait as long as it takes." Sofia studied his face in the streetlight, searching for something. Whatever she found seemed to satisfy her because she nodded slowly. "Okay," she said. "We can try. But Logan, if you hurt me again, that is it. I will not survive it a second time." "I will not," Logan said, and he meant it with everything in him. "I swear to you I will not." Sofia stepped closer and rose up on her toes to press a soft kiss to his cheek. "I want to believe you." "Then believe me," Logan said. "I will prove it to you every single day." They walked back to where Sofia had parked her car, hands almost but not quite touching. When they reached her old Honda, Logan could not help but smile. "You still have this thing." "She runs perfectly," Sofia said defensively, patting the hood. "Not all of us can afford fancy cars." Logan thought about his Mercedes parked a block away and felt a twinge of guilt. "There is nothing wrong with your car. I just remember all the times it broke down." "She has been very reliable lately," Sofia said. "We have an understanding." Logan laughed and opened her door for her. Before she got in, he said, "Can I see you again? Soon?" "Wednesday," Sofia said. "Come to the shop around closing time. We can get dinner." "It is a date." "It is dinner," Sofia corrected, but she was smiling. Logan watched her drive away, then walked back to his own car feeling lighter than he had in years. He knew this was just the beginning, that they had a long way to go to rebuild what they had lost. But for the first time in 7 years, he felt hope. The following Wednesday, Logan showed up at Page and Prose at 5:30 with takeout from Sofia's favorite Thai place. She looked surprised when he walked in with the bags. "You remembered," she said. "Pad see you with extra vegetables. No peanuts because you are allergic," Logan recited. "Some things you do not forget." They ate in the back room of the shop, surrounded by boxes of new inventory and the familiar smell of books. Sofia told him about her week, about the elderly man who came in every Tuesday to read poetry in the corner, about the little girl who had bought her first chapter book all by herself. "You love this," Logan observed. "I really do," Sofia said. "Every day is different." Yesterday, I helped a college student find a book for their thesis. Today, I recommended a romance novel to a businessman who was looking for something to help him relax. I never know who is going to walk through that door or what they are going to need. "Kind of like how you never knew I was going to walk through your door last week," Logan said. Sofia met his eyes. "That was definitely a surprise." "A good one?" Logan asked hopefully. "The jury is still out," Sofia teased, but her smile softened the words. They developed a routine over the next few weeks. Logan would come by the shop once or twice a week, sometimes bringing dinner, sometimes just stopping by to say hello. They talked about everything and nothing, slowly rebuilding their friendship and the trust that had been broken. Logan learned that Sofia volunteered at the library on weekends, teaching literacy classes to adults. Sofia learned that Logan had a dog now, a rescue mutt named Murphy who had been abandoned at a shelter. They discovered that they both still hated mushrooms and loved old movies and could still make each other laugh until their sides hurt. One evening in late October, Logan arrived at the shop to find Sofia on a ladder, trying to hang a banner for an upcoming author event. She was stretching precariously, and Logan's heart jumped into his throat. "Sofia, get down from there," he said, rushing over. "I almost have it," she insisted, reaching further. The ladder wobbled, and Logan grabbed it to steady it, his other hand automatically going to Sofia's waist to secure her. She finally got the banner hung and climbed down, ending up in the circle of Logan's arms. "You are going to give me a heart attack," he said, not letting go. "It is just a ladder," Sofia said, but she had not pulled away either. They stood there for a moment, closer than they had been since Logan had come back into her life. Logan could smell her shampoo, something floral and sweet. Sofia's hands rested on his chest, and he could feel his heart pounding beneath her palm. "Logan," she said softly. "Yeah, I think I am ready." "Ready for what?" "To stop pretending we are just friends," Sofia said. "Because we are not, are we? We have never been just friends." Logan's hand came up to cup her face. "No, we have never been just friends." "So kiss me already," Sofia said, and Logan did. It was like coming home. Sofia's lips were soft and familiar, and she made a small sound in the back of her throat that Logan remembered so well. His arms tightened around her and she pressed closer, her fingers tangling in his hair. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Sofia rested her forehead against his chest. "Okay," she said. "Okay," Logan repeated. "Okay, I forgive you. Okay, I want to do this. Okay, I am terrified, but I am doing it anyway." She looked up at him, her eyes bright. "Okay to all of it." Logan kissed her again, softer this time, pouring everything he felt into it. When they parted, he said, "I love you. I have loved you for 7 years, and I will love you for 700 more." "That is a long time," Sofia said, but she was smiling. "Not long enough," Logan replied. They locked up the shop together, and Logan drove Sofia home to her apartment above a bakery. She invited him up for coffee, and they spent hours on her couch, talking and kissing and making up for lost time. Logan left reluctantly at midnight, only because Sofia had to open the shop early the next morning. "I will see you tomorrow," she asked at the door. "And the day after that, and the day after that," Logan promised. The next few months were a whirlwind. Logan cut back on his work hours, delegating more to Rachel and the rest of his team. He wanted to be present for Sofia, to show her that she was his priority. They went on proper dates now, to restaurants and movies and art galleries. Logan took her hiking at the state park, and Sofia dragged him to used bookstores where they spent hours browsing. He met her friends from the book club, a diverse group of women who clearly adored Sofia and were extremely skeptical of Logan at first. Her best friend, a woman named Jennifer who owned a flower shop, pulled him aside at a dinner party and said, "If you hurt her again, they will never find your body." "Understood," Logan said seriously. "Good," Jennifer said, then smiled. "But she is happier than I have seen her in years, so you must be doing something right." Sofia met Rachel and was surprised to discover they had a lot in common. The two women bonded over their mutual love of true crime podcasts and their shared frustration with Logan's tendency to work too much. "He has been better lately," Rachel told Sofia during a lunch the three of them shared. "I have never seen him like this, so relaxed and human. You are good for him." "He is good for me too," Sofia admitted. For Thanksgiving, Sofia invited Logan to meet her parents. He was terrified, remembering how much they had liked him in college and how disappointed they must have been when he disappeared. Sofia's father, Robert, answered the door and looked Logan up and down. "So, you are back." Yes, sir, Logan said. I know I have a lot to make up for. You sure do, Robert said, but then he extended his hand. Sofia is happy, and that is what matters, but we are watching you. Sofia's mother, Patricia, was warmer but no less protective. She hugged Logan and then held him at arm's length, studying him. You broke my daughter's heart. I know, Logan said quietly. It is the biggest regret of my life. Good, Patricia said. Now come help me in the kitchen. By the end of the evening, Logan had won them over. He helped Patricia cook, talked business with Robert, and held Sofia's hand under the table during dinner. When they left, Patricia hugged him and whispered, "Do not let her go again." "I will not," Logan promised. Christmas came, and Logan surprised Sofia with a trip to New York City. They saw the tree at Rockefeller Center and ice skated at Bryant Park and ate their way through every neighborhood. On their last night, Logan took her to see a Broadway show, and when they walked out into the snow afterwards, Sofia said it was one of the best nights of her life. "Thank you," she said, kissing him on the snow-dusted street, "for all of this." "Thank you for giving me another chance," Logan said. They rang in the new year together at a party thrown by one of Sofia's friends. When the countdown started, Logan pulled Sofia onto the balcony where they could be alone. 10, 9, 8, the crowd inside chanted. "I love you," Logan said. 7, 6, 5. "I love you too," Sofia said. 4, 3, 2. "I want to spend the rest of my life with you," Logan said. 1, "Happy New Year. Is that a proposal?" Sofia asked, laughing. "Not yet," Logan said, "but soon, when I can do it properly." He kissed her as fireworks exploded over the city, and Sofia kissed him back, and everything felt perfect. Logan started keeping clothes at Sofia's apartment, and she left toiletries at his place. They fell into an easy rhythm, spending most nights together, learning each other all over again. Logan discovered that Sofia talked in her sleep now, usually about books. Sofia learned that Logan had become an excellent cook and liked to make her breakfast in bed on weekends. They had their first real fight in February, about Logan working on a Sunday when he had promised to help Sofia with inventory at the shop. She called him out on it, and Logan got defensive, and they both said things they did not mean. Logan showed up at her apartment that night with flowers and an apology. "You were right. I promised I would be there and I broke my promise. I am sorry." "I overreacted," Sofia admitted. "I know your work is important. You are more important," Logan said firmly. "You are the most important thing in my life, and I need to do better about showing you that." They worked through it, establishing better boundaries and communication. When Logan had to travel to San Francisco for a week-long conference in March, he called Sofia every night and texted her constantly. When he came home, he went straight to the bookshop from the airport, not even stopping at his apartment first. "I missed you," he said, pulling her into his arms. "I missed you too," Sofia said. "A whole week is too long." "Agreed. Next time you are coming with me." In April, Sofia's lease on the shop was up for renewal, and the landlord wanted to increase the rent significantly. She was stressed about it, worried that she would not be able to afford it. Logan offered to help, but Sofia refused. "I need to do this on my own," she said. "The shop is mine. I have to make it work myself." Logan understood, but it killed him to watch her worry. He mentioned the situation to Rachel casually, not asking for help but just venting. Rachel, who had a head for business that Logan respected immensely, said, "What if we made it a community space? Bennett Tech could sponsor events there, and we could use it for some of our small business workshops. We would pay rent for the space when we use it, which would help offset her costs." It was a perfect solution, and when Logan presented it to Sofia, she cried. "You are not just giving me money?" she asked. "No," Logan said. "This is a legitimate business arrangement. Rachel already drew up a contract." Bennett Tech gets a space for community outreach, and you get supplemental income. It is a win for both of us. Sofia read the contract carefully, then signed it. The partnership worked beautifully. Bennett Tech hosted workshops on digital literacy and online marketing for small business owners, and Page and Prose became known as a community hub. Sofia's customer base grew, and so did her profits. In June, Logan's mother called to say his father was sick. Logan flew home immediately, and Sofia insisted on coming with him. She sat with him in hospital waiting rooms and held his hand through difficult conversations with doctors. She charmed his parents, especially his mother, who pulled Logan aside and said, "If you do not marry that girl, you are an even bigger fool than I thought." Logan's father recovered, and on the flight home, Logan held Sofia's hand and thought about rings. He started looking secretly, visiting jewelry stores during his lunch breaks. He wanted something unique, something that was perfectly Sofia. He finally found it at a small antique shop, a vintage ring with a sapphire surrounded by tiny diamonds. It was elegant and understated and perfect. Logan planned the proposal carefully. He wanted it to be special, meaningful, something Sofia would remember forever. He thought about grand gestures, about renting out restaurants or hiring musicians. But in the end, he realized that was not them. They were not about flashy displays. They were about quiet moments and genuine connection. On a Saturday evening in July, Logan picked Sofia up from the shop after she finished her story time with the kids. "Want to go for a drive?" he asked. "Sure," Sofia said, curious. He drove them out to the state park, to the hiking trail where they used to go in college. They walked hand in hand through the woods as the sun started to set, talking about their week, about nothing important. When they reached the overlook where they used to have picnics, Logan stopped. "Wait here a second," he said. He pulled a blanket and a basket from his backpack, the same kind of setup Sofia used to surprise him with in college. He had packed sandwiches and cheap wine and strawberries, all their old favorites. "Logan, this is so sweet," Sofia said, sitting down on the blanket. They ate and talked as the sky turned pink and gold. When the sun was just touching the horizon, Logan took a deep breath and pulled the ring box from his pocket. "Sofia," he said. She looked at him, then at the box, and her hand flew to her mouth. "7 years ago, I walked away from you because I was scared and stupid and convinced I was doing the right thing," Logan said. "I have spent every day since then regretting it. When I found you again, you gave me a second chance I did not deserve. You let me back into your life, and you taught me what it means to be partners, to face things together instead of running." He opened the box, revealing the ring. Sofia's eyes filled with tears. "You are my best friend and my favorite person," Logan continued. "You are the first thing I think about in the morning and the last thing I think about at night. I want to spend the rest of my life making you happy, building a future with you, loving you the way you deserve to be loved. Sofia Vance, will you marry me?" "Yes," Sofia said, laughing and crying at the same time. "Yes, yes, yes." Logan slipped the ring onto her finger and it fit perfectly. He pulled her into his arms and kissed her as the sun set behind them, painting the sky in shades of fire. "I love you so much," Sofia said against his lips. "I love you too," Logan said. "Forever." They sat on that blanket until the stars came out, planning their future. They talked about whether to keep both apartments or find a place together, about whether to have a big wedding or something small and intimate. They talked about kids and pets and growing old together. "I want all of it," Sofia said. "All of it with you." "Then that is what we will have," Logan promised. They told their families and friends the next day. Sofia's parents cried happy tears, and her mother immediately started planning the wedding. Logan's parents were thrilled, and his mother took full credit for telling him to marry Sofia. Rachel gave Logan a hug and said, "About time." Jennifer hugged Sofia and said, "I am so happy for you, he better treat you right." "He will," Sofia said confidently. "I trust him." They decided on a small wedding in the fall, just close family and friends. Sofia did not want anything too fancy, and Logan just wanted to marry her as soon as possible. They settled on October, giving them 3 months to plan. Those 3 months flew by in a blur of cake tastings and flower selections and suit fittings. Logan let Sofia make most of the decisions, happy just to be involved. The only thing he insisted on was the venue, the small garden where they had their first date in college. The wedding day was perfect. The weather was crisp and clear, the leaves turning brilliant shades of red and gold. Sofia wore a simple white dress that made her look like something out of a fairy tale. Logan wore a navy suit and could not stop staring at his bride. When it was time for vows, Logan took Sofia's hands and said, "I promise to never walk away again. I promise to face every challenge with you, not for you. I promise to make you laugh and to hold you when you cry. I promise to love you in all the ways you deserve to be loved, every single day for the rest of our lives." Sofia was crying openly now. "I promise to trust you, even when it is hard. I promise to build a life with you that honors both of our dreams. I promise to be your partner, your best friend, and your home. I promise to love you, Logan Bennett, for all the days I have." When the officiant pronounced them husband and wife, Logan kissed Sofia like his life depended on it. Their friends and family cheered, and someone released doves that flew up into the autumn sky. The reception was held at a small restaurant nearby, and it was exactly the kind of celebration they wanted. Intimate, warm, full of laughter and love. Logan danced with Sofia to their song, an old jazz standard she used to play in their college apartment. He danced with his mother, and Sofia danced with her father, and then everyone danced together until late into the night. When they finally left, showered in rice and well wishes, Logan pulled Sofia close in the car and said, "Hello, Mrs. Bennett." "Hello, Mr. Bennett," Sofia said, kissing him. They honeymooned in Italy for 2 weeks, eating incredible food and exploring ancient cities and making love in beautiful hotels. It was perfect, romantic, everything they had dreamed of. When they returned home, they moved into a house they had bought together, a craftsman-style place with a big yard and enough room for the future they were building. Murphy the dog loved the new space, and Sofia immediately started planning a garden. Life settled into a wonderful new normal. Sofia continued to run Page and Prose, which was thriving thanks to the partnership with Bennett Tech and her growing reputation in the community. Logan remained CEO of his company, but he was better about work-life balance now, leaving the office at reasonable hours and taking weekends off. They hosted dinner parties for their friends and family. They took Murphy on long walks every evening. They read books together in bed and cooked elaborate meals on Sunday afternoons. They were building a life that was rich and full and exactly what they both wanted. A year after their wedding, Sofia started feeling sick in the mornings. At first, she thought it was food poisoning, but when it continued for a week, Logan insisted she see a doctor. She came home from the appointment with tears streaming down her face, and Logan's heart nearly stopped. "What is wrong?" he asked, pulling her into his arms. "Nothing is wrong," Sofia said, laughing through her tears. "I am pregnant." Logan pulled back to look at her. "Pregnant, we are having a baby, we are having a baby," Sofia confirmed. Logan let out a whoop of joy and picked her up, spinning her around. Murphy barked excitedly, sensing the celebration even if he did not understand why. "We are having a baby," Logan repeated, setting her down gently. "I am going to be a father." "And I am going to be a mother," Sofia said, her hand resting on her still, flat stomach. They told their families that weekend, and the reactions were everything they could have hoped for. Both sets of parents cried and hugged them and immediately started arguing about grandparent names. Jennifer screamed so loud she scared her cat, and Rachel gave them a gift certificate to the fanciest baby store in the city. The pregnancy was not easy. Sofia had terrible morning sickness for the first trimester and was exhausted all the time. Logan waited on her hand and foot, bringing her ginger tea and crackers, rubbing her feet when they swelled, reading parenting books late into the night. They found out they were having a girl, and Logan cried when he saw the ultrasound. "She is perfect," he said, staring at the grainy image. "She is the size of a peach," Sofia said, amused. "A perfect peach," Logan insisted. They turned the spare room into a nursery, painting it a soft lavender and filling it with books because of course they did. Sofia's friends threw her a baby shower, and Logan's mother knitted tiny sweaters and blankets. In June, 3 weeks before her due date, Sofia's water broke while she was at the shop. Jennifer called Logan, who broke every speed limit getting there. He found Sofia remarkably calm, timing her contractions on her phone. "Ready to meet our daughter?" she asked. "So ready," Logan said. The labor was long and difficult. Logan held Sofia's hand through every contraction, wiped her forehead, and told her how strong she was. When their daughter finally arrived, screaming and red-faced and perfect, Logan fell in love all over again. "She is beautiful," he whispered, watching as the nurse placed their daughter on Sofia's chest. "She looks like you," Sofia said, exhausted but glowing. They named her Lily Patricia Bennett, after Logan's grandmother and Sofia's mother. Lily had dark hair like both her parents and her father's green eyes. She was perfect in every way. Those first few months were a blur of sleepless nights and dirty diapers and overwhelming love. Logan took paternity leave, something he never would have considered before Sofia taught him what really mattered. He walked Lily around the house at 3 in the morning, singing off key lullabies. He changed diapers and gave baths and fell more in love with his tiny daughter every day. Sofia eventually went back to the shop part-time, bringing Lily with her. The customers loved having a baby around, and Lily seemed to enjoy the books and the quiet atmosphere. Logan would stop by during lunch to see his girls, and his heart would nearly burst at the sight of Sofia reading to Lily in the rocking chair he had installed in the shop's back room. When Lily was 6 months old, Logan came home from work to find Sofia in the nursery, rocking their daughter and crying softly. "What is wrong?" he asked, immediately concerned. "Nothing," Sofia said, wiping her eyes. "I was just thinking about how different my life is now compared to 7 years ago. When you left, I thought I would never be this happy again. I thought you were it, and I had lost my chance." Logan knelt beside the rocking chair, putting his hand over Sofia's. "I am so sorry I put you through that." "I know," Sofia said. "But Logan, if you had not left, if we had stayed together back then, we would not be who we are now. You would not have built your company. I would not have opened my shop. We both needed to become ourselves before we could really be together." "So you are saying it all worked out the way it was supposed to?" Logan asked. "Maybe," Sofia said. "Or maybe we just got really lucky that you found me again." "I will never stop being grateful for that day," Logan said. "Walking into your shop was the best decision I ever made." Lily stirred in Sofia's arms, making little baby sounds. Logan reached for her, and Sofia transferred their daughter carefully. Logan held Lily close, breathing in her baby smell, marveling at how tiny and perfect she was. "I love you both so much," he said. "We love you too," Sofia said, leaning her head on his shoulder. They stood there together in the soft glow of the nursery lamp, a family of three, and Logan thought about how far they had come. From two broke college kids in love, to years apart, to finding each other again, to this moment. It had not been easy, and there had been pain and mistakes along the way. But they had found their way back to each other, and that was what mattered. As Lily grew, the house filled with toys and laughter. She was a happy baby who became a curious toddler, always getting into things, always exploring. She had her mother's love of stories and her father's stubborn determination. Logan and Sofia loved her fiercely and raised her together, partners in every sense of the word. Page and prose continued to thrive, becoming a beloved fixture in the community. Sofia expanded it, adding a small cafe and hosting more events. She hired staff so she could spend more time with Lily while still running the business she loved. Bennett Tech Solutions grew too, becoming a major player in their field. Logan eventually stepped back from the day-to-day operations, promoting Rachel to CEO and taking on more of a chairman role. It gave him time to focus on what really mattered, his family. When Lily was 3, Logan came home one evening to find Sofia in the kitchen, holding a pregnancy test and grinning. "Again?" he asked, delighted. "Again," Sofia confirmed. Their son, Oliver Robert Bennett, was born 9 months later. He was the opposite of Lily in every way, calm where she was energetic, thoughtful where she was impulsive. But they adored each other from the start, and Logan and Sofia's hearts expanded to fit even more love. Life was full and sometimes chaotic. There were school plays and soccer games and family vacations. There were fights about bedtimes and negotiations over vegetables. There were illnesses and skinned knees and tears that needed kissing away. But there was also so much laughter and joy and love. On their 10th wedding anniversary, Logan took Sofia back to the garden where they had gotten married. They had a babysitter for the kids and a whole evening just for themselves. 10 years, Sofia said as they walked through the garden. "Can you believe it?" "Best 10 years of my life," Logan said. "Well, the best 12 if you count the years in college. 13 if you count the year we reconnected," Sofia pointed out. "Okay, the best 13 out of the last 20 years, Logan amended. They found a bench and sat down, watching the sunset just like they had on the night Logan proposed. "You ever regret it?" Logan asked. "Taking me back, giving me another chance?" Sofia turned to look at him, her expression serious. "Never, not for a single second. You are my person, Logan. You always have been. Even when I was an idiot who ran away, even then," Sofia said. "I am glad you came back. I am glad you fought for us. I am glad we built this life together." Logan pulled her close and kissed her, soft and sweet and full of promise. "Here is to the next 10 years. And the 10 after that," Sofia added. "And all the 10s after those," Logan said. They sat together in the garden as the stars came out, talking about their kids and their dreams and all the adventures still to come. They talked about taking the family to Europe next summer, about expanding the bookshop to include a second location, about all the possibilities that lay ahead. When they finally went home, they found Lily and Oliver asleep on the couch, cuddled up with Murphy and half watching a movie with the babysitter. Logan picked up Oliver while Sofia got Lily, and they carried their children upstairs to bed. They tucked them in, kissed their foreheads, and stood in the doorway for a moment, watching them sleep. "We made good kids," Sofia whispered. "We did," Logan agreed. In their own bedroom, they got ready for bed with the comfortable routine of a long marriage. Logan brushed his teeth while Sofia washed her face. They climbed into bed together, and Sofia immediately curled into Logan's side the way she always did. "I love you," Logan said into the darkness. "I love you too," Sofia replied. Logan lay there, listening to Sofia's breathing even out as she fell asleep, and thought about the journey that had brought them here. He thought about the scared 24-year-old who had walked away, convinced he was doing the right thing. He thought about the successful but lonely 31-year-old who had walked into a bookshop on a rainy afternoon. He thought about every moment since, every choice that had led to this life. If he could go back and change it, would he? Would he erase those 7 years of pain and separation? Part of him wanted to say yes, wanted to spare Sofia the heartbreak and himself the regret. But Sofia was right. Those years had shaped them both, had made them into the people they needed to be for each other. Sometimes the long way around was the only way to get where you needed to go. Logan pulled Sofia closer and closed his eyes, grateful for second chances and bookshops and rainy afternoons. Grateful for a woman who was brave enough to forgive him and wise enough to make him earn it. Grateful for the family they had built and the love they shared. He had walked away once because he had been afraid, but he had come back because he was brave enough to try again. And Sofia had let him, had opened her heart one more time, had given him the gift of forever. As Logan drifted off to sleep, his last thought was that he was the luckiest man alive. He had everything he could ever want. A woman he loved more than life itself. 2 beautiful children, a home full of warmth and laughter, and a future that stretched out bright and endless before them. Some love stories end when the couple gets together. But Logan and Sofia's love story was really just beginning. They had their whole lives ahead of them, full of ordinary moments and extraordinary love, and Logan was going to treasure every single second of it. In the morning, he would wake up to Lily jumping on the bed and Oliver crying for breakfast. Sofia would laugh and try to wrangle their daughter while Logan got their son. They would make pancakes together in their crowded kitchen. Syrup would get spilled, and Murphy would try to steal food off the table. It would be chaotic and messy and absolutely perfect. But for now, Logan held his wife and listened to the house settle around them, to the soft sounds of his children sleeping down the hall, to the quiet peace of a life well lived, and a love that had weathered everything and come out stronger. He had reconnected with her after years apart, never expecting his ex would still be the one. But Sofia Vance, now Sofia Bennett, had always been the one. She was his past and his present and his future. She was his second chance and his happily ever after. And Logan Bennett, Millionaire CEO turned devoted husband and father, fell asleep with a smile on his face, knowing that he was exactly where he belonged.